In today's video, we're diving into a critical topic: why Afghanistan is headed toward war with all its neighbors. As the geopolitical landscape shifts, the stakes are higher than ever. The resurgence of the Taliban has raised tensions not just within Afghanistan, but also with its neighboring countries. With each passing day, the risk of a broader conflict looms large, prompting a closer look at the dynamics at play. As we explore these complexities, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and drop a comment below about what you think of this situation. Your engagement helps us keep the conversation going. Topic 1. The Taliban's resurgence. The return of the Taliban to power has dramatically altered the landscape in Afghanistan. After 2 decades of conflict, the group has regained control, raising concerns about its policies and the implications for regional stability. The Taliban's governance approach is not just about internal control, it's also about asserting power over neighboring countries, which creates an environment ripe for potential conflict. The group's history of supporting militant factions across borders means that neighboring nations are increasingly on high alert. Countries like Iran, Pakistan, and others in Central Asia are watching closely, worried that the Taliban might export its ideology and actions beyond Afghanistan. This reality raises the specter of proxy wars, where regional players could become embroiled in Afghanistan's struggles, leading to a wider conflict. As the Taliban consolidates power, the potential for clashes with neighboring states grows. Each country must navigate its own interests while keeping a wary eye on Afghanistan's unpredictable political landscape. The question remains: how will these dynamics play out in the coming months and years? Topic 2. Tension with Pakistan. When talking about tensions in the region, Pakistan is a key player in the Afghan narrative. Over the years, the relationship between the two countries has been marked by distrust and conflicts of interest. Pakistan, which has previously supported various Afghan insurgent groups, now faces the dilemma of how to deal with the Taliban's growing influence. This situation creates an unstable environment where one misstep could escalate hostilities. Recently, Pakistan has become increasingly concerned about the Taliban's movements, which, after taking control of Afghanistan, have not only expanded their influence, but also encouraged militant activities along its own border. This constant tension has led Pakistan to bolster its military presence along the border, seeking to safeguard its national security. Additionally, the influx of Afghan refugees into Pakistan places further strain on already limited resources, complicating the situation even more. As this dynamic unfolds, Pakistan finds itself in a precarious position. On one hand, it must address its own internal security. On the other, it needs to avoid open confrontation with Afghanistan that could have disastrous consequences. Thus, the situation along the border becomes a microcosm of the larger tensions afflicting the region, illustrating that the balance between war and peace is more fragile than ever. Topic 3. Iran's influence. Another crucial dimension of the rising tension in Afghanistan is Iran's influence. With a long history of involvement in Afghan politics, Iran positions itself as a strategic player in the region. Since the Taliban's resurgence, Iran has sought to expand its influence through economic and political ties, but it also faces significant challenges with the group's return to power. This dynamic becomes a complex game where Iranian interests may clash with regional security. Iran, which already hosts millions of Afghan refugees, is concerned about the potential for a new wave of migration should the situation worsen. Moreover, the rise of the Taliban raises fears of a hostile regime on its borders. For Iran, instability in Afghanistan is not just a matter of security. It is also an opportunity to exert influence through allied groups and militias. This approach can be seen as a way to counterbalance the influence of the US and Pakistan in the region. At the same time, Iran must carefully navigate the line between supporting the Taliban and avoiding an escalation of tensions that could lead to open conflict. The interactions between these actors reveal a geopolitical chess game where every move is calculated to protect national interests while trying to prevent a disastrous confrontation. In this way, Iran becomes a key piece in the puzzle of regional security, where the balance is constantly tested. Topic 4. Regional powers and Afghanistan. When it comes to tensions in Afghanistan, the roles of regional powers like China and Russia cannot be overlooked. Both countries are closely watching the evolution of the situation in Afghanistan, as their own geopolitical agendas are at stake. China, with its Belt and Road Initiative, views Afghanistan as an opportunity to expand its economic and infrastructure influence. However, instability in the country poses a significant risk to its investments. On the other hand, Russia has been keen on strengthening its ties with groups opposed to the Taliban, seeking to undermine U.S. influence in the region. This rivalry among powers creates a delicate situation where any misstep could lead to heightened tensions that already exist. The situation in Afghanistan becomes a geopolitical battleground, with each power seeking to gain an advantage without initiating direct conflict. Moreover, the presence of extremists and militants in the region raises security concerns for the borders of these countries. The potential for insurgent groups crossing into their territories presents a challenge that cannot be ignored. Thus, the dynamics between Afghanistan and regional powers intertwine in a complex scenario where economic and security interests collide, creating an environment prone to new conflicts. Topic 5. The role of the international community. The international community plays a crucial role in the Afghan crisis, although its response has often been inconsistent. Following the withdrawal of U.S. forces, Western nations find themselves at a crossroads, having to decide how to engage with the Taliban, which promises to not only govern Afghanistan, but also control the regional narrative. The lack of a clear consensus among countries on how to interact with the Taliban adds to the uncertainty and exacerbation of the situation. While some nations push for sanctions and condemn the Taliban's actions regarding human rights, others attempt to establish channels for dialogue. This division creates a confusing environment, where Afghanistan may be seen as a cover for regional and local actors to pursue their own interests without effective international oversight. The fragility of this approach could ultimately allow conflicts in the region to escalate unchecked. Thus, the effectiveness of the international community in stabilizing Afghanistan hinges on a cohesive strategy that considers the complexity of the scenario. If there is no collaborative effort, the risk of a broader conflict with its neighbors becomes ever more imminent. Therefore, the capacity of the international community to act decisively could determine not just Afghanistan's future, but also peace and security in the entire region. Thank you for watching the video. It's essential to remember that what happens in Afghanistan is not just a local problem, but a global challenge that requires attention and action. We are all interconnected in this scenario, and the future of Afghanistan could very well shape the future of international security.